When we picture English royalty, Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth II stand out. Icons separated by centuries, yet forever linked in the public imagination. Their faces, instantly recognizable, seem to bookend a grand narrative of British history, as if the crown passed smoothly from one to the other, generation after generation. We often imagine them as part of a direct, unbroken royal line, a single thread weaving through time, connecting the Tudors to the Windsors without interruption. The idea of a simple, continuous bloodline from Henry to Elizabeth is a powerful myth, reinforced by the grandeur of crowns, palaces, and ceremonies. The pageantry of royal events, the solemnity of coronations, and the enduring symbols of monarchy all help to create the illusion of an unbroken chain. We see Henry's imposing portraits and Elizabeth's dignified photographs and assume the right to rule passed directly from one to the other, as if the monarchy was a family heirloom handed down without dispute. But history is rarely so straightforward. The truth is far more complicated, filled with twists, turns, and unexpected detours. The real story of royal succession is a tangled web of marriages, alliances, and political necessity. Dynasties rose and fell, and the crown often changed hands not by direct descent, but through strategic unions and even foreign intervention. At times, rival claims to the throne led to bitter disputes, civil wars, and dramatic shifts in power. The monarchy survived not because of a single bloodline, but because it adapted, sometimes dramatically, to the changing tides of history. The journey from Henry VIII to Elizabeth II crosses countries and dynasties, not a single family tree. The royal bloodline we know today is the result of centuries of intermarriage with European houses, political maneuvering, and the merging of different royal families. To understand the true relationship between the Tudors and the Windsors, we must look beyond the myth and explore the complex, international roots of the modern monarchy. The British crown is not just an English story, but a European one, shaped by wars, treaties, and the ambitions of countless rulers. This is a story of shifting dynasties, unexpected heirs, and a crown that traveled far beyond Tudor England, ultimately landing on the head of a queen whose ancestry is as international as it is royal. To understand why Queen Elizabeth II isn't a direct descendant of Henry VIII, we need to look back through centuries of royal intrigue, ambition, and heartbreak. The story of the Tudors is one of power, legacy, and ultimately, an unbroken line that was destined to break. Let's examine the Tudor king's family, whose personal lives shaped the fate of a nation. Henry VIII, larger than life and determined to secure his dynasty, changed the course of English history in his quest for a male heir. Henry's obsession with producing a son led him to marry 6 times, breaking with the Catholic Church and launching the English Reformation. His actions not only altered religion in England forever, but also set the stage for a succession crisis. His only legitimate son, Edward VI, ascended the throne as a boy. Tragically, Edward died at just 15, leaving no children to continue the Tudor name. Henry's daughters, Mary and Elizabeth, each became queen in turn. Mary, known as Bloody Mary for her persecution of Protestants, died childless. Elizabeth, the brilliant and enigmatic Virgin Queen, also left no heirs. Elizabeth I, celebrated for her intelligence and independence, never married and had no children to inherit her crown. Her reign marked a golden age, but it ended with her alone. With her death in 1603, the direct Tudor bloodline came to a sudden and dramatic end. The royal tombs closed on a family that had ruled for over a century. No Tudor children or grandchildren remained to inherit the throne. The once bustling royal nurseries and palaces fell silent, their future uncertain. The dynasty that began with Henry VII's victory at Bosworth Field, which ended the Wars of the Roses and brought peace to England, was now over. The Tudors' remarkable story had reached its final chapter. This is the crucial first step in understanding the modern monarchy. The crown could not stay with the Tudors, no matter how powerful their legacy. The throne had to pass to a new family, from a different country, marking a dramatic and uncertain shift in British history. The search for a suitable successor would change the nation forever. The direct Tudor line was finished. The search for a new monarch began, setting the stage for a new era and a new royal dynasty. As Queen Elizabeth I grew older, her her lack of an heir became a matter of national anxiety. The Virgin Queen, as she was known, had steadfastly refused to marry or name a successor, leaving the future of England uncertain. Her advancing age only heightened the sense of urgency and unease at court, as nobles and commoners alike wondered who would inherit the throne. England faced a looming succession crisis, with no direct Tudor heir in sight. The question of who would rule next was not just a matter of royal intrigue. It threatened the stability of the entire realm. Fears of civil war, foreign intervention, and religious upheaval haunted the minds of Elizabeth's advisors. The strongest claim to the English throne came not from within England's borders, but from the north. King James VI of Scotland, already a monarch in his own right, emerged as the leading candidate. His claim was both compelling and controversial. James's right to the English crown was rooted in his descent from Margaret Tudor, the older sister of Henry VIII. Margaret's marriage into the Scottish royal family had, decades earlier, created a vital link between the two kingdoms. Through this union, the bloodlines of England and Scotland became intertwined, setting the stage for a future union. This lineage made James the great-great-grandson of Henry VII, the founder of the Tudor dynasty. Unlike other claimants, his connection was legitimate, though it bypassed Henry VIII entirely, tracing instead through Margaret's line. Elizabeth's relationship with James's mother Mary, Queen of Scots, had been fraught with suspicion and rivalry, ultimately ending in Mary's execution. Yet James himself was Protestant, which made him far more acceptable to the English establishment than his Catholic mother had ever been. On her deathbed in 1603, Elizabeth is said to have signaled her approval of James as her successor, though she never named him outright. The transition was tense, but the will of the dying queen was clear enough for her council to act. James made the historic journey from Edinburgh to London, crossing the border to claim his new kingdom. This moment marked the first time the crowns of England and Scotland were united under a single monarch, forever changing the course of British history. He was crowned James I of England, founding the Stuart dynasty and ushering in a new era. The coronation was both a celebration and a signal of profound change. The Tudor era, with all its drama and glory, had come to an end. In its place, a new chapter began, with a Scottish king now seated on the English throne, symbolizing a fresh start for the monarchy. The royal bloodline had already taken its first major detour, setting the stage for centuries of union, conflict, and transformation in the British Isles. James I's arrival in London marked the union of England and Scotland under one monarch. The Stuart dynasty's rule was turbulent. Civil war, regicide, and the brief abolition of the monarchy. After the monarchy's restoration, religious conflict led to the Glorious Revolution. Parliament invited the Protestant William and Mary to rule, establishing that Parliament could determine succession. Protestantism became a requirement for the crown. The Stuart line ended with Queen Anne, who had no surviving children. Once again, the monarchy faced a succession crisis. Parliament's solution would send the crown to Germany. With Queen Anne childless, the Act of Settlement in 1701 secured a Protestant succession. Parliament bypassed many closer Catholic relatives, choosing Sophia of Hanover, granddaughter of James I. Sophia died before Anne, so the crown passed to her son, George I. George, a German prince, spoke little English and began the Hanoverian dynasty. The British monarchy now had deep German roots, ruling for nearly 2 centuries. This international connection shaped Britain's destiny and tied the crown to European politics. The Hanoverian kings, George II, George III, and so on, oversaw empire and upheaval. The royal family's German heritage would become a challenge in the 20th century. The Hanoverian era peaked with Queen Victoria, whose reign defined an age. Her marriage to Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha shifted the royal house's name and identity. Their son, Edward VII, became the first British monarch of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. The royal family's German ties were unremarkable at the time, as Europe's royal families were deeply interconnected. But rising nationalism and tensions in Europe would soon make this German heritage problematic. The names Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, once a symbol of unity, became a liability as the world moved toward war. The stage was set for another transformation of the royal house. World War I brought fierce anti-German sentiment to Britain. The royal family's German name, Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, became a public relations disaster, especially as German bombers attacked London. In 1917, King George V acted decisively. He issued a royal proclamation. The family would abandon its German titles and adopt the name Windsor, inspired by the ancient English castle. The House of Windsor was born, a masterstroke of political rebranding. The monarchy aligned itself with the British people, severing symbolic ties to the enemy. Since then, Windsor has been the royal house's name, carried by George V, Edward VIII, George VI, and Queen Elizabeth II. The monarchy had reinvented itself for a new era. The royal family's identity was now unmistakably British. The House of Windsor has reigned for over a century, adapting through wars, social change, and the digital age. George V set a standard of public service, followed by his sons Edward VIII and George VI. Queen Elizabeth II, ascending in 1952, became a symbol of stability and continuity. Her lineage traces back to the Tudors through Margaret Tudor, but not directly to Henry VIII. The Windsor story is one of adaptation, changing names, roles, and expectations to survive. The family tree leading to King Charles III is a tapestry of Scottish, German, and British roots. The monarchy's strength lies in its ability to evolve. The myth of a direct line from Henry VIII to Elizabeth II is just that, a myth. The crown passed through Scottish, German, and finally British hands, shaped by politics, religion, and necessity. The royal family tree is a complex European forest, not a simple English oak. The monarchy's survival has depended on adaptation, not just blood. Today, legitimacy comes from public service and national identity, not ancient lineage. The British monarchy is a blend of cultures and dynasties, reflecting a diverse national story. Its true power lies in its capacity to change and serve the nation it represents.